I've always loved the rain. There's something soothing about the sound of it tapping against the windows, the way it makes the world feel smaller, quieter. But that night, the rain was different. It wasn't soothing. It wasn't peaceful. It was wrong, and I'll never forget what happened. This is the story of that night. The night I was alone, and the night something came for me. It started like any other evening. I was home alone, my wife and kids away for the weekend visiting her parents. I had the house to myself, and I was looking forward to a quiet night. I ordered a pizza, cracked open a beer, and settled in on the couch to watch a movie. Outside, the rain was coming down hard, the wind howling like a wounded animal. But inside, it was warm and cozy. Safe, or so I thought. The first sign that something was off came around 9 p.m. I was halfway through my movie when the power went out. The TV flickered off, the lights died, and the house was plunged into darkness. I groaned, fumbling for my phone to use as a flashlight. The storm must have knocked out a transformer or something. No big deal. I'd just waited out. But as I sat there in the dark, the house felt different, colder, emptier. The rain outside seemed louder, more insistent, like it was trying to get in. I shook off the feeling, telling myself it was just my imagination. But then I heard it, a knock at the door. It was soft, almost hesitant, but it was there. I froze, my heart skipping a beat. Who the hell would be out in this weather? I waited, hoping it was just the wind playing tricks on me. But then it came again. Knock, knock, knock. I got up, my phone in hand, and made my way to the front door. I peered through the peephole, but all I could see was darkness. The porch light was out, and the rain made it hard to see anything. I hesitated, then called out, "Who's there?" No answer. I unlocked the door and opened it a crack, the cold wind and rain hitting me in the face. There was no one there, just the empty porch and the storm raging beyond. I shook my head, closing the door and locking it again. Must have been the wind. But as I turned to go back to the living room, I heard it again. Knock, knock, knock. This time, it was coming from the back door. My heart was pounding now, my palms slick with sweat. I told myself it was nothing, just the storm. But deep down, I knew better. Something was out there. Something was trying to get in. I grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen drawer and made my way to the back door. My hand trembled as I reached for the handle, but I forced myself to open it. The wind nearly ripped the door out of my hand, the rain soaking the floor. I shone the flashlight into the yard, but there was nothing there. Just the rain and the dark. I closed the door and locked it, my mind racing. Maybe it was a prank. Some kids messing around in the storm. But why? And why wouldn't they say anything? I tried to shake it off, telling myself I was being paranoid. But as I turned to go back to the living room, I heard it again. Knock, knock, knock. This time it was coming from upstairs. I don't know how long I stood there, frozen in place, my heart pounding in my chest. The sound was unmistakable. Someone, or something, was in my house. And it was upstairs. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold it. I told myself it was just my nerves, that I was overreacting. But as I climbed the stairs, each step creaking under my weight, I knew something was terribly wrong. The hallway at the top of the stairs was dark, the flashlight beam barely cutting through the shadows. I checked the kids' rooms first, my breath coming in short, shallow gasps. Empty. Then the bathroom. Empty. Finally, I reached the master bedroom. The door was closed. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, my hand on the doorknob, too scared to turn it. But I had to know. I had to see what was on the other side. I took a deep breath, turned the knob, and pushed the door open. The room was empty. I let out a shaky laugh, relief flooding through me. It was just my imagination, just the storm playing tricks on me. But as I turned to leave, I heard it again. Knock, knock, knock. This time, It was coming from inside the closet. I don't know how I found the courage to open that closet door. Every fiber of my being was screaming at me to run, to get out of the house and never look back. But I couldn't. I had to know. I gripped the knife tighter, my hand trembling as I reached for the closet door. I took a deep breath, yanked it open, and shone the flashlight inside. There was nothing there, just clothes hanging neatly on the rack, shoes lined up on the floor. I let out a shaky breath, my knees weak with relief. But then I saw it, a single, wet footprint on the carpet. My blood ran cold. I knelt down, shining the flashlight on the print. It was large, too large to be mine, and the shape was wrong. The toes were too long, the arch too high, and there were only 3 toes. I stumbled back, my mind racing. What the hell was going on? Was someone in the house? Or was it something else? Something not human? I didn't have time to think, because at that moment I heard it again. Knock, knock, knock. This time it was coming from the attic. The attic door was in the hallway, a small square panel, in the ceiling with a pull cord. I stood there, staring up at it, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might burst. I didn't want to go up there. I didn't want to see what was waiting for me, but I had no choice. I pulled the cord, the ladder unfolding with a creak. The attic was pitch black, the flashlight beam barely piercing the darkness. I climbed up, each step feeling like it might be my last. The air was thick with dust, the smell of mildew and decay filling my nostrils. I shone the flashlight around, the beam catching on boxes, old furniture and cobwebs. But there was no sign of anyone or anything. Just the same eerie silence. And then I heard it. A low, guttural growl coming from the far corner of the attic. It wasn't an animal I recognized. It was deeper, heavier, like the rumble of thunder, but alive. I turned the flashlight toward the sound, my hand shaking so badly I could barely hold it. And that's when I saw it. It was tall, too tall, its limbs stretching out like spider legs. Its skin was pale, almost translucent, and its eyes, God, its eyes. They were black, empty, but somehow filled with a malice that made my soul shrivel. It tilted its head, those 2 long fingers twitching, and it spoke. "You shouldn't have come here." The voice was wrong. It was too many voices at once, layered over each other, some high, some low, some not even human. It echoed in my head, bouncing around like it was trying to burrow into my brain. I dropped the flashlight, the beam spinning wildly as it hit the floor. I didn't think. I just ran. I scrambled down the ladder, nearly falling in my panic, and slammed the attic door shut. I grabbed a chair from the bedroom and wedged it under the doorknob, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold it. And then I heard it again. Knock. 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 This time, it was coming from inside the attic. I don't know how I made it out of the house. I just remember running, stumbling down the stairs and out into the storm. The rain was coming down in sheets, the wind howling like a living thing. I didn't stop to grab my keys or my phone. I just ran. I made it to the neighbor's house, pounding on their door, until they let me in. They called the police, who searched the house from top to bottom. But they found nothing, no footprints, no signs of a break-in, nothing, just an empty house and a terrified man. They didn't believe me, of course. They said it was just the storm, my imagination running wild. But I know what I saw. I know what was in my house that night. And I know it's still out there waiting. I don't live in that house anymore. I couldn't. Every time I hear the rain, I think of that night. Every time I hear a knock at the door, my heart stops. Because I know it's not over. It's never over. So if you're ever home alone on a rainy night and you hear a knock at the door, don't answer it, don't even look. Just stay inside, stay safe, and pray that whatever's out there doesn't find you. Because once it does, you'll never be the same.